often. But what I want to talk about now is I'm bringing on a guest. I'm very excited about this. Eddie Scarry from the Washington Examiner. You can follow him at eScarry on Twitter. It's Scarry. Eddie, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here.
So, Eddie, you write a lot of different columns, and one of the ones that I was really interested in is you talked about the issue with vaccinating teachers, and you kind of explained that Biden has two options here, and he doesn't seem to be really going with either. Can you explain to the audience what he could do if you really wanted to vaccinate teachers and what he's actually doing?
Whether he can do either of the options that would make the most sense, I don't know if he legally can, but he would at least try if he were to back up the rhetoric he continues to put out, but certainly put out during the 2020 campaign, which was that he had a plan. He was the person that would get things done. The whole attack on then President Trump was that he's not taking enough action. He's taking a whole hands-off approach. Well, you have on the one hand, you have teachers saying we need to get vaccinated. We're not going to go back to school unless you vaccinate us. All around the country, of teachers saying that. But then you have his own CDC. Biden's own CDC saying that's not necessary at all. That the transmission in schools, public schools, is basically zero of the virus. So there's absolutely no reason for that. We can do other measures. We can put other measures in place: mask wearing, some social distancing, ventilation tweaks. But otherwise, we don't have to have max vaccination of teachers before it's deemed safe to go back in the schools. So Biden can either force teachers to go back in some way. I know that the teachers' unions have him really where it hurts, have any Democrat where it hurts, and they have a lot of muscle there. But he could do that, or he could announce some kind of plan that says, okay, we're vaccinating teachers. We're going to make sure they're at the top of the list. But no, he's not doing that. All him and his vice president are doing is running around saying, well, we think that teachers should be higher priority in states, but we can't do anything about it. We just think that they should. And that's the extent of their action. Well, this just shows, once again, there are many other ways that prove this to be true. I've been writing about this at the Washington Examiner for a while, is that they didn't have a lot of answers for things that they pretended to have the answers to. The idea that he was going to, by his own words, was to shut down the virus was always, I think, ridiculous, laughable in a lot of ways. There were simply some things that we just could not do when you're dealing with an airborne, highly contagious virus. But he pretended he did, and yet he gets away with it because the media seem to like him enough.
Yeah, and Eddie, I do want to play a cut here from Kamala Harris because I thought her answer to Savannah Guthrie about these schools reopening was exactly what you said. It didn't even make any sense. She was just kind of trying to tell people how much she cared about the kids and their education without telling people what was going to actually happen. But before I get to that, I want to read you this headline from Politico. President Joe Biden's presidency hinges in large part on his success in handling the pandemic. But nearly a month into power, he's beginning to discover just how much that task is out of his control. Do you notice a difference in the narrative right now with the media?
Oh, well, I would say no. If anyone's beginning to figure out how difficult it is to control, it's the media. They're the ones who bought into this. If they actually bought it, a large part of me just believes they were lying just as much that every other Democrat was lying when they said there was more action that could be done. Always setting these ridiculous goalposts. Everyone should be able to get a test the second they want one. They shouldn't even have to drive to the store to get it. There should be at-home tests given to everyone. The government should be providing masks for everybody. There needs to be a national contact tracing program. Then there needs to be, now there needs to be vaccine. And all of this has to happen at the exact same time. All 330 million people in this country have to have testing, contact tracing, vaccine. All of that was ridiculous. No one could have possibly ever done that. It's a new virus, which literally means there's nothing in place to answer to that. You could have certain response layouts, ideas of how you would, if you fast track the vaccine, how you would get that out. But that's otherwise when it's a completely new thing. That just by definition means things don't exist to address it. But anyone who thought about it for 2 seconds knew that, and I suspect enough Democrats knew that was not that these things couldn't possibly be done. But it worked for them politically. And also one other point, just real quick, was it's exactly what you were saying about Kamala Harris, I've also been writing about this at the Washington Examiner, is this idea that, well, Biden has empathy. It's not just, he actually cares that people are dying. Kamala Harris cares that people want to go back to school. Trump didn't care. That is just a complete way to soothe the media. So long as they believe you care, it doesn't matter if you can actually fix the problem.
Exactly. And Eddie, I do want to play this cut both for you and for the listeners. This is cut 18.
Look, again, parents watching, what is the bottom line? What does it mean for schools to be reopened, and how soon can they be reopened?
So our goal is that as many K through 8 schools as possible will reopen within the first 100 days. Our goal is that it will be 5 days a week, and so we have to work to achieve that goal. But our goal is the goal of parents. And I mean, here's the thing, Savannah, I don't need to tell you. We are the issue here is
Eddie, I just think that sound of her, it's like the sound of lying.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you can also get the sense that she's hoping that that whoever is interviewing will not ask too many questions or will let it go if she says the right thing, even if it's not the right answer, they'll let it go. It was the same thing when you had, I guess this was this past Sunday when she was interviewed on HBO by Mike Allen. He asked her a very, very easy question, which was, what do you think was the hardest thing you didn't expect coming in to deal with the pandemic? And she said, well, it's the vaccine, right? There wasn't a stockpile. And it's you get the sense that she's looking at him to see, does that fly?
Right.
Does that pass over his head, even though it's not the right answer? Is he going to take it? And I'm hoping he doesn't follow up. But of course, there's not going to be a stockpile of a vaccine. You stockpile things so that you can use them when you need them. Well, we need that right now. Everything should not be stockpiled. It should be going out to everybody. But you could see that she thinks that this is the right answer, and hopefully he'll take it.
Yeah, and Eddie, I didn't even think of this until right now, but I also notice a trend with these Biden administration people, whether it's Jen Psaki or Kamala Harris. They always say, I don't have to tell you, or you know me. Like they're really leaning into the fact that the media should know, like you said, that they care. They're good people. Why are you asking them these questions?
Right, and that was exactly what she did in the interview with Mike Allen on HBO this past week. She said, well, we had no stockpile, right? And she says right at the end of the different questions, like, you know this already. You agree with me on this already. I don't have to tell you, just as you were saying. And yes, it's the same thing you see in the press briefings. Psaki has been in Washington forever. She is a dinosaur at this point. But she has these relationships, and we know each other, right? We level on this issue.
Yeah, she said that.
Go, right?
She said that about the TJ Ducklo thing. Caitlin Collins actually asked her a tough question. She said, "Caitlin, you know me. I've been here for years," and I just thought, you're like rubbing it in at this point that you're so buddy-buddy with these people. But Eddie, I do want to ask you another thing. You write a lot about Andrew Cuomo, and what I love about your columns, everyone should check them out. It's Eddie Scarry at the Washington Examiner. You don't give, which is a pet peeve of mine, you don't give the media sudden kudos for being interested in Andrew Cuomo. Instead, in one of your columns, you said, where are all the people who boosted Cuomo? When are all the people who boosted Cuomo going to admit their mistake? And I keep asking myself the same question.
Right. I mean, this was an entire operation that was put behind him and it was all because, everyone should know this, it was all because Cuomo gave a press conference where, again, he sounded like he cared. That he was not giving, everyone could see that he was not, anyone who was being honest could see that he was not being forthcoming about the whole nursing home debacle. Everyone could see that people died that didn't need to die. And, I'm not the kind of person who says, you need to bear the blame for every single death, and this is all your fault. But if the media is going to pretend and portray him as this profile-encouraged, competent government, absolutely the way things should have done, and it was, he got an Emmy for it. He gets every journalist covers him in a favorable way, and while they're doing that, by the way, they're viciously attacking Ron DeSantis and any other Republican. Florida Republican Ron DeSantis, any Republican who resisted doing these extreme lockdowns, any Republican who so much as said, you know what, we do have an economy we have to worry about. We do have to worry about whether people have their businesses, their jobs, or whether we're just slashing jobs and not giving a damn. We do kind of have to care about that, right? Anyone who said that, no, those people wanted people to die. It was utter incompetence. They were too hand in hand with Donald Trump. So let's just attack them. But here we go. We have Cuomo, who he seems to care, and he's got everyone on lockdown, which is the right thing. Well, now they're coming around a little bit too late. I'm glad they are, but I hope they don't think for one second that anyone else forgets how they held him up as this shining example of competent government when he was anything but that.
Exactly. Eddie Scarry from the Washington Examiner. I had so many more questions for you, but I just got kind of off topic with the media and Andrew Cuomo. I thank you so much for joining us, Eddie. I hope you'll come on the show again soon. All right. I have great news for my listeners. The Gen 40 heater is back and just in time for the really cold temps. The groundhog declared 6 more weeks of winter, and the globe is not warming anytime soon. It is currently snowing right now. And while it does look beautiful from inside the studio, I have to say I'm dreading going home because it's going to be cold. I'm jealous because Taylor has a Gen 40 heater, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
I took the only one in the office. I claimed it, and I was the first to it, so it's at my house.
Do you think Harrison, your son, do you think that subconsciously he enjoys the heater more knowing that he took it from Howie Carr?
He might.
He sits there and goes, yeah, that's right, Howie. I got your heater.
Harrison came to visit the office for the first time a few months ago, and I introduced him to Howie, and he said, "Hello, child," and walked off. So maybe for payback, Harrison does really savor the fact that he stole Howie's Gen 40 heater. But he loves it. We love it. We use it around the house and every room that we're in. It's so portable, easy to use. It's very intuitive, and you won't have any problems with it. If it tips over, it shuts off. There's no safety hazards whatsoever. It gives you peace of mind on all fronts, and it's just a great product. Like I've said, we've used it in the family now for 2 generations. My father had one when I was growing up.
And the thing is that Taylor's a really good example of using this product because he has a small baby, he has pets, and he's not afraid to use it. I know some people get nervous with space heaters, but this is a really safe one. It's really easy to move around, and it's just a great product. It will save you money in a matter of weeks. Go to EdenPure.com, put in code word Howie Deal to get $50 off the sale price. That's EdenPure.com and use code word Howie Deal for an extra $50 off. These heaters are in high demand. The Cormier family is just scooping them up, so you better get on it. Go right now to EdenPure.com. Guys, I'm going to open up the phone lines, 844-500-4242. We got the whole rest of the 1 o'clock hour to talk about all of this, including Cuomo, and I'm going to get to this teachers' the board meeting in San Francisco. It's absolutely hysterical. We'll be back on the other side. This is The Grace Curley Show.
The Grace Curley Show will be right back.